All right, here we are back with the boys, Star Spangled Gamblers. Zoltar, Pratik, you want to holler at your fans at home?
What up?
Hey,
Coming off coming off a good couple weeks, guys. Besides the pandemic, of course, but our
Uh,
picks are doing pretty good.
yeah, let's talk. I mean, let's talk about a week. It seems like every week is eventful in a different and terrifying way. Uh, Zoltar, you seem hot to get out of the gate. How'd your picks from
Yeah.
last week do?
Well, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. I said some of these primaries got a good shot at getting canceled. It's good lotto. If you're gonna go with one, go with Puerto Rico back here. And I think at the time it was like 13 cents, 14 cents. It has since skyrocketed up to, at some point I sold some in the 40s, and now I think it's high 20s, low 30s, something like that.
So that Puerto
So
Rico primary, I don't know, it might be a little too late to get in on that waterfall.
yeah, right now it's in the mid 30s, I think. But yeah, and basically nailed that one. And then if you watch the Old Bowl TV, my first two picks were no debate. That's at 99 cents. Boom. And
No
then
more
second
Bernie
one,
and Biden debates. No more Bernie.
feel,
That means no more
feel
debates.
that burn, feel that burn. And then the second one
Fill it
was
up.
Biden. Biden was at 78 cents. Now he's at what, 90, something like that.
So we owe it to the world who has been living under a rock or maybe just watching shitty reality TV. But Bernie Sanders is out of the presidential race. That's
Yeah,
shaking things up.
just happened.
Just out. So I have been crowing on the blog Star Spangled Gamblers. It's easily the best website on the internet. That's what Bill
Mhm.
Gates and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation says. I've been crowing that Wisconsin's election was going to get postponed, and hand to God,
Also
at the end
said
of the
that
day, the governor bowed.
you
What?
said that the convention was going to get postponed too.
That's right. That's right. I was shilling postpones everywhere. So convention moved. That
Hmm.
felt great. Obama endorsement. I think we all realized that Obama's going to be endorsing in time. And then the governor of Wisconsin did order the election to be postponed, but he got cucked by the courts. Keendawg still got out with I think it was 126% gain. So I'm going to call
Yeah.
that a successful prediction.
And
Uh,
Zoltar was on the road picking up my kids coming back to Florida, and I was doing my research on I-95, and I was all set to do a nice eloquent post about how the Supreme Court would never stick its neck out to cause and force in-person voting during an epidemic. But of course, I was absolutely wrong. So good thing I never posted that.
I still think that the governor kind of let himself get deballed. More ballsy governor would have just put his foot down and told the National Guard to arrest him. Pratik, week in review. No Bernie. Wisconsin election. COVID
Pratik's
continues.
VP. He said Pence VP. That shot up from 70 to mid
Well,
80s.
I want to hear from him.
yeah, I mean,
Pratik.
I was focusing mostly on getting Biden yes in the 80s, and most of those paid off right after Bernie dropped out. So I got out of those.
You flipping
So
those?
that was a good game. Yeah.
Yeah, remember Zoltar said, if you're going to bet the primary lottos, best time to do it is after the first one happens. And Wisconsin was sloppy. It just happened. And what's probably going to happen in 2 weeks is you'll start hearing stories about people who worked the polls and voted getting sick. Then they'll start creeping up again. So if you're going to buy them now. Buy the ones that are in June or later.
That is still the best deal on Predicted, though, is that I think Joe Biden to win the nomination is 85 cents, 85% chance that the last man standing in the field is the nominee. What else you got, Pratik?
So yeah, I basically bet on coronavirus not causing too much chaos in terms of the Trump administration.
And he ignored my
So
Puerto Rico, which you admitted to last week. The charts.
You got Anthony Fauci sticking around?
no, I got rid of those in the 90s. There may be a deal right now. I think they're in the low 90s right now.
Yeah, he's 91 right now. He's
Yeah.
actually he's going to be one of my
One of
Mark
those
Ward
Zoltar
picks.
locks.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
we
I would say the only thing that went down that I recommended last week was Klobuchar in the VP market, but we can talk about that.
Yeah, so this week we're going to do our best bet section, but we're going to do a little bit different. We have a mailbag that has been getting increasingly heavy, and the boys are out there chirping about things that I think we're all wondering about.
What percentage of mail you get is hate mail? Just curious.
Ooh, I would say probably 3-1 hate mail. So
usually after like one of your picks tanks, or is it just
no. Usually it's before. So usually here's you know what, Zoltar? I think this is a really important question to be asking because like
I don't get any hate mail. I love hate mail. I think it's fun, but
I feel like if you're gonna make a big prediction, like people are gonna think you're wrong. Like you're always gonna be betting against common wisdom and like all these idiots on their couch who don't, like no one I guess has a job anymore, and they're just gonna call you an idiot, and then you're gonna take their money. So whatever, you can say whatever you want to me.
What's like one of the more vicious letters you've ever gotten?
It's not different than anything else.
I saw
you're a cuck loser.
I saw one of the YouTube comments for the Vice segment said that looks like John Goodman in a beard. That one kind of hurt.
I think someone said that guy looks like he's extremely depressed on the inside when I was talking. So but no one ever says thank you. Like you sit here and like we give away our best tips. Someone else makes more money off them than I do.
Dude, I started with a 20-0 streak, and people would still call me a pumper. But I was like, what the fuck? All I do is give you guys, like, I have 20-0 streak. Like, how is that a pumper? But they would still say it.
Yeah, well, in my business, they say silence is praise. So, it's like if you don't hear from anyone, they're probably okay with you.
I hear you.
So let's open up the mailbag, okay? So I got who's up first? We got Tuck Leg. That's his Twitter handle.
Is this their actual profile at Predicted or on Twitter?
No, these are Twitter handles. So you can follow these bros or you can send them hate mail if you get tired of sending it to us. Tuck Leg DMs me, dude, I just realized something. Both you and me like Clobe for Veep, right? Then a great value bet is just buy her on the presidential election market. If she's Veep, then her stock will rise to at least 10 cents because Joe is like really old.
Ooh, that's a good one. I like that. That's a two-stepper. So you basically think Biden's going to get the Corona V and die. What's a good market to get that no one's thinking about? Clobe or whoever you like at VP. So I don't know. I don't know what tuck leg. I don't know what that even means, but that's a good tip.
So I went and looked at this because I was really intrigued by it. I was like, that's the type of really long odds play that then you read about a couple months ago and you're like, oh, where did that guy make 50 grand? But there's not a lot of evidence, like looking at predicted charts. I don't see big pumps happening in the Dem nomination market that coincide with like Gretchen Whitmer being the flavor of the week or, whenever Klobuchar, like I don't see that same activity.
If she gets picked, the Biden's going to die bettors are going to start saying she's going to be the next president.
But why wouldn't that momentum go to someone who has won delegates?
Because she's the vice president.
But there's not. But here's my look. Trying to figure out what retail gamblers are going to do is a weird and strange game to play. But the line of succession from president to vice president doesn't exist when you're on a ticket. Like it's not.
Not legally, but I feel like who knows? It's never happened as far as I know. But I feel like that's what they would do. Otherwise she would basically have to be picked VP again, or she'd get snubbed and she'd never be VP, and it'd be like his dying wish doesn't happen. I think they would just throw her up there and she'd say, I'm following his lead.
I actually, even before I saw that, I was buying up 1 cent shares on Klobuchar in the presidential market.
Well, what do you think about that, Pratik? Do you think that they would make her president if Biden croaked before the election?
So I think the argument for buying it is, at least my rationale is basically that if Klobuchar gets picked right on the news, it might go up to 2 or 3 or whatever. I mean, we might get some reaction. So you'll have an opportunity right there to double up. But even if you don't, even if it remains at 1 cent, you can perhaps just get rid of them for no loss or gain, or you can hold on to them and just wait basically between now
it's like a free play
November. Yeah, for anything to happen to Biden, and you could be looking at it going, if it goes to 2, great. If Biden dies, it goes from 1 to 99. And
I love how you say all information. It is like all the same. Well, if Biden dies, like or if I get AIDS, like it's like everything is the same to Pratik.
It's like if it's Armageddon, the whole world collapses. We could put an extra 2
cents. Or on last week's podcast when Pratik was like, "Well, there's the chance that the sexual assault allegations are not completely made up." It's like
no, but I'm thinking about sobriety. That. So good fast finger bet. Whenever the vice president's picked, immediately pick them for president. That'd be a good fast finger because people might take a couple minutes to think that they're clever and then put them as.
Or they could just buy in the wrong market. There's so many people in Predict It that think, I've done it 1,000 times too. You think you're buying one thing and you're just trying to move too quick.
Best is when you're trying to do like a sell order and you accidentally hit a buy. So you're like, sell at 30 and you actually hit buy at 30 and you just like cleared up all the like high priced ones you're trying to get some sucker to pay you for.
Yeah, or you double down on a position that you knew was a loser. Whoops.
I do that all the time. I just spite bet all the way down with the Titanic. I don't care.
Yeah, what's like the losers chant, like double up to catch up.
Yeah. Losses.
The Democratic VP market for an undisciplined trader, which I would off the record say that I am not always the most disciplined trader, it has like the volatility and the shifts that the nomination race did, and our mailbag kind of reflects that. I'm looking, Pratik, you got a little fan mail in this week's batch. Do you want me to impersonate you, or do you want to read it yourself?
Well, just really quick, going back to the Veep. Remember before we were talking about you buy the nose on the news. So what's her name? Harris just got a whole bunch of news. That's a good example of me buying it. As soon as I saw, oh yeah, she's the favorite, started buying a bunch of nose. I think she was at like 68 cents, something like that.
Yeah,
so it's a good example of people overreact on the news. Just buy on the news.
All right. Yeah, well, so we're gonna follow that hot hand here.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy 1% in the president market on Kamala as well. I'm not going to, but if it looks like she might get picked, I might get in there.
Yeah, I think he's just floating names and seeing, what gets good pop from the audience, and Kamala's one of the many.
So we're going to chase another one of these fads right now for this little piece of fan mail to Pratik. Pratik, you didn't answer my question, though. Am I impersonating you, or are you going to read this yourself?
I can read it.
Yeah.
Okay.
People want to hear.
This one's from Zach. Hey, Pratik, big fan of the SSG podcast and was wondering if you'd weigh in on a position I have in the Dem VP market. I have no's on Kamala and some other candidates who have little chance. Last month, I also picked up some Whitmer yes, around 400 shares between 4 to 6 cents.
That's Gretchen Whitmer, governor of Michigan. Y'all.
Now it's at 18 to 20 cents. And while I believe that she is an excellent choice, I feel like she's popped a little too high based off of the.
Didn't she say that she was told she was in the top 3? Was that the same lady?
Well, okay. So the question here is: do you think it's a good move to sell and try to get back in at 10 to 12 at some point, or is she fairly priced right now?
That's like a no-brainer, right? Like, why wouldn't you? It just seems like the tides keep coming and going on all these candidates. Forget what their names are. Like, take the profits and come back, when they're down again.
Yeah, I think Whitmer is one of the few candidates who I haven't been betting on one way or the other in the VP market. Basically because, like, on the one hand, I think she is qualified, she is up to the job, there are a lot of reasons to pick her. On the other hand, I think she may be a bit of a fad by virtue of the coronavirus situation. And I could definitely see an argument where Biden concludes that he'd rather have her remain in Michigan, or even she might want to remain there, get the situation handled, and she'll obviously campaign for Biden anyway.
So, like, I'm totally lost in this because I thought that one of the lessons from the Democratic primary was that all this, like, kind of Hollywood woke, like, emphasis on identity and, like, well, we got to have the perfect ratio of skin tones and genders in the election. Like, I sort of concluded that that's not really what's motivating Democratic voters, but that seems to be what's really motivating the conversation about who Joe Biden is going to pick to be his running mate. And I'm having trouble figuring out if that's like a phony assumption from Twitter or if that's like really the case. And I don't know how Gretchen Whitmer fits into that. I mean, she's definitely fad right now, but so
yeah, she's in the news. I'd buy some no's. Don't go crazy. Just keep getting the no's canceling each other out.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's hard to imagine her getting much higher price than she is now, going, up towards 15 cents.
Yeah, well, I mean, she obviously goes higher if she, in fact, gets picked. Yeah. I think that's possible. I'm inclined to stay out of this one. I don't have a good read here.
Yeah, I'm just doing a couple hundred shares, no on each.
Yeah. Well, Politico did a pretty flattering profile on her. So apparently, it certainly leaves you with the impression that she's one of the best kept secrets in American politics.
Yeah, but what I think the DNC does, and Biden or whoever's his handler does, is they get a list of like 5 people and they just start floating these stories, bing, 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 see if anyone catches the attention of the public and go from there. So what we're seeing right now is just all those stories getting floated.
Yeah.
It just means that she's in the in the list of 5 or 6. So I'd say when it happens, people overreact just by nose.
It's around the conventions that they usually make these announcements, right? Am I
Yeah,
wrong?
I think well, we're in a very weird situation because of this black plague that's destroying the entire universe. But I think the goal is to get momentum up to the conventions. So it's like a WrestleMania. You have like the feuds, and then the ladder match and this and that, and then all of a sudden the main event, boom! Now we're ready.
Yeah.
But Zoltar, when you say the DNC, what do you mean exactly? Because I'm operating on the assumption that Biden more or less has a free hand to pick whoever he wants.
No, I'm of the assumption that he's like borderline dementia and basically is just doing what his handlers and his staff tell him to do. I think I think he wouldn't pick a VP he doesn't like. He might nix a couple names, but I think they're out there right now testing all these names, polling, doing all this, and then they're gonna come back to him and say, this is a demographic you're hurting in. This is the lady who would do the best. And he'll just say, okay, give me another couple of insurers so I can put on my depends.
I worry that we're a little disconnected from this because if you listen to this podcast, it's pretty obvious that like none of us are super fired up. Like, none of us were volunteering for Bernie Sanders, and there does seem to be a lot of concern that the people, the hard left, is just not going to vote for Joe Biden. But I don't know what matters on the margin. I just know how I'm betting, and sometimes I feel better about it than others.
Yeah, and I feel like when picking vice presidential candidates, I feel that that's close to just pure gambling. It's hard to get an edge. You don't know what the hell they're going to go with.
So we still haven't answered Zach's question. I guess I would say to take Gretchen Whitmer at 4 to 6 cents, I would for sure be selling her now that she's up closer to 15, and maybe buy in again if it's advantageous. That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah, that's what I would do. You got a guaranteed win. Take it.
Yeah.
If you're going to get mad because you won a little bit instead of getting mad because you just dropped your whole bankroll and have to do another deposit.
Yeah. Yeah. Black Lotus writes.
Ooh,
I bought into shares of Yes.
That's a Twitter name or that's the predicted name?
These are all Twitter names. Black Lotus says, I bought into shares of Yes on Burr. He's the North Carolina senator who dumped his stock portfolio on the eve of coronavirus. I bought shares on Burr being senator on May 1st and took my profit in the 90s. However, it's not a contract I feel comfortable with until May 1st. The fact that Tucker Carlson and what's-his-face, Gates, Republican congressman, have been going after him with an FBI probe makes me think there's at least the appearance of smoke here. I'm on the fence. I feel like that's a pretty safe hold that Burr won't resign before May.
No, this is part of my call rove market board picks. Dump him and pick up Dr. Fauci. He's staying. He's better bet. He's got better odds.
You think Burr will resign?
No, but he's at 95 and Fauci's at 91. So
yeah, he's now up to 97.
Which one, Fauci or Burr?
Burr. I'm not sure that extra 3% is worth it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Let me see Fauci. Hold on, I'm pulling him up right now. How do you spell that?
I mean, I would not tell someone to start betting on that at 97 cents, but
yeah, Fauci's at 91 cents. I would get rid of that, take your win, and then go into Fauci. Fauci's not going anywhere.
I like that. I like that move.
And I think Fauci's not going anywhere because the numbers right now are getting better. So it looks like they're handling, the curve as well as they could. So I don't think Trump in the middle of all that would get rid of the guy who's giving good news.
By the way, real talk.
If Fauci starts saying this is a complete shit show and this should have been handled differently, okay, then he's going to get the boot. But right now he's saying what Trump wants him to say.
Real talk. I totally panic sold my Fauci shares. I bought at like 89 and dumped them at like 91. I was just, oh yeah.
Was it after
you never trust Donald Trump,
Was it after he giggled during that presser?
I
see that?
I don't remember what it was, but
Trump was saying something, and he just started covering his mouth because he was trying not to laugh at what Trump was saying, and I was like, ooh, you might get the boot for that. But at this point, keep them. If you don't have them, buy them.
Yeah.
Get them in 4 weeks. You get 10%. It's not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't my greatest moment. I like to make it very clear that, like, I won't speak for you guys, but I kind of will. Like, everyone on this podcast probably does every stupid thing that everyone listening to this podcast does. And it was my turn when I dumped my Fauci shares.
Well, good teaching moment is you got to ask yourself at the beginning of the bet, am I going to bet my conviction or am I going to bet what I think the public is? And if you're going to bet your conviction and the public goes the other way, stick with your conviction. That's what you're betting from the original point of the bet. If you're from the original point of the bet, going to bet what the public thinks and they go the other way, then okay, you can panic sell. But don't switch strategies midstream just because your bet isn't going the way of the public.
So I will say on Fauci, I've been betting yes on him consistently. I got a bunch of shares on him in the 80s, but
yes, I will he's not going to he's not going to leave is what you're betting, right?
Yeah, that he'll remain. But I do think it's worth considering that we may end up seeing a scenario where this whole COVID thing ends up being nowhere near the crisis that Fauci was predicting, and that his
everyone so far all the models were overestimating.
Yeah, so I mean the question is, if it turns out that Fauci is wildly overshooting the risk, is he held accountable for that? I think the answer is probably not. I'm willing to take him at 90 or whatever it is right now, but the question is, how long do you wait for that one? I'd probably get rid of it around 95 or so.
One of the expressions they have in law is you under promise and over deliver. And I think that might be what Trump is seeing with Fauci is he's saying it's going to be this many deaths each month, but what's actually happening is much better, which gives a good impression to the public versus if we said X amount of deaths each month and it's double that, then it's like these guys don't know what they're doing. They're doing it wrong. It's twice what the model said. So,
well, I definitely hope that that's what's going on when you hear these state governments talking. Like, I live in California. They just said California is going to be under a lockdown for like another 5 weeks or something. So I'm like really hoping that it's under promise, over deliver.
Well, the lockdown is going to be the other way around. They're going to tell you it's shorter than it actually is because they don't want to let you know that you're going to be at home for 2 months.
All right. So hold your Fauci, sell your birds, buy your Faucis.
Or right. do both. Burr's kind of at a high price.
So now we got Dustin, who says, I find it really hard to believe that the establishment keeps Biden if they want to win in November. A lot of copy about sexual assault claims and dementia. Imagine it's coming from a Bernie bro, though, and not like a Hannity watcher. My best guess is that they have a choice of Bernie leading the party to victory over Trump or replacing Biden. They're not replacing Biden.
I agree with the first half, not the second half.
Biden's
I don't see a scenario. Yeah, I don't see a scenario where they do get rid of Biden, but my gut feels like it's going to happen. The Zoltar spidey sense is kicking in, and he just seems like a train wreck. And I think if there's a way they can get him out, they might do it. I'm going to buy some of those 6 cents lottos and some of the late January or late June, early July primaries, hoping that he just gets forced to resign because behind the scenes, it's like a Sarah Palin thing.
All right. Well, I'm on the other side of this. I'm hoping that this is the Zoltar spidey sense that gave us some of the most hilarious losses and not the most shocking gains. But I'm going to send this one over to Pratik now. Are they yanking Biden?
No, I think Biden's going to be the nominee. But I think it's worth playing out a scenario like, what if, for example, he does in fact have a Me Too problem? How does that play out? My hunch here is that it's going to take a long time for this to come out. I don't think we're going to have clear evidence either way, and I don't think that it'll boil to the point that there will be a serious enough call for him to resign.
When we're talking about price, though, I mean, are you thinking that's just going to keep holding down the value in the 80s until we get to him shaking hands with the nomination at the
Oh yeah,
convention
my
or the
guess is
virtual
that we're
convention.
probably going to have deals on Biden all the way through the convention, sort of like how happened with Trump in 2016. If I'm remembering correctly, I think you could buy him
Well,
in the
let me ask you
90s.
this, Pratik. Sarah Palin, when there's that one Schmidt book and movie that came out that
Game changer.
that basically indicated they're close to giving her the boot because they realized like she didn't know where Australia was on a map. Do you think they came close to giving her the boot, Sarah Palin, after she was announced as a VP?
Well, I think there's a dramatic difference between a running mate and who's gone through the process. So I'm not sure the parallel applies.
No, I'm just saying that
Yeah.
it is possible that they decide the person that has the nod is a disaster and they got to do some cleanup.
Yeah, but how would they actually do that? I think the only way Biden isn't the nominee is if he himself withdraws. Now, I think that could happen maybe for a
Well,
health
they force
reason.
them to withdraw,
Or death.
like one of those, hey, your hamstrings hurt, but really you are on the Dolphins and you raped someone at a hotel the week before, that type of thing.
No, but again, I mean, how does that play out practically? Like, first of all, to be clear, I think it's entirely possible there's some kind of dirt on Biden, but the point is that it didn't get uncovered, presumably, when Obama was vetting him. So there's that factor. Then the question is, how does something like that, how does the evidence become so clear and overwhelming?
Well, what I'm saying is that the more they realize, the more he campaigns and the more he does these interviews that are disasters and, gets on TV and just looks like an old man who's lost his way, the DNC internally might say, we gotta get him out of here and find someone else.
So I'm going to cut this off because we have another mailbag that is the B side of the argument we're having right now. Because the question is, it's like, well, if not Joe, then who? And trader who is hemorrhaging cash, Slade, a lot of you know Slade probably, he hit me up. He's holding no on Andrew Cuomo at 99 cents. And he says,
the first part was good. I don't like the 99-cent part.
Do you know anything about the Cuomo surge? I'm long past screwed because I put in 99-cent no orders to all listed candidates for negative risk. I don't understand what the process would even be for him to be the nominee. Is this a real possibility or just sunken money by conspiracy traders?
Yeah, just hold those Cuomos, be patient, you'll get paid. He got interviewed by his brother on CNN, and it was one of the more awkward interviews I've seen.
Strong disagree. That was the greatest moment in the history of television, was watching Andrew Cuomo hate on him.
Fredo said, are you going to run for president? No. Are you considering running for president? No. Would you?
Yeah, but he did troll him for not knowing his mom's meatball recipe.
Yeah, well, that's true.
That's what I want to see out of a
every
leader.
single way you can say, I'm not running for president. And don't forget, he's going through pretty serious situation in New York. So
yeah, Andrew Cuomo's not running for president.
His hands are a bit full. He might try to parlay this like Giuliani did. I'm the hero of 9/11. He'll be the hero of the Corona V, and then he'll try to run for president, but not this year.
Well, who says he wants the job? But I want to kind of make the point that I think Pratik was trying to make, which is like, fine, the DNC, whatever that is, the DNC is just a bunch of people. Like, they don't like Joe Biden. Well, like, what is the process of getting rid of him? Like, it's him quitting or him dying.
Or getting forced out, being forced to quit behind the scenes.
How?
Hey, Biden, we know what you did in Ukraine. You're going to drop out, or we're going to drop it because you weren't ready for this. You weren't ready for the big stage. You're past your prime. Take a seat, buddy. We're going to put in someone else.
I'm calling fake news on that.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't believe it'll happen, but it's worth a couple lottos to me, just because I'm seeing a guy who's out of his element right now.
I mean, I think a lot of traders right now are reluctant to bet on Biden because they don't like the optics of him hanging out in his basement, basically being irrelevant. I actually think this coronavirus has been a total gift for him. I think what we saw in the primaries is that Biden polls pretty well until people actually encounter the reality of who he is today. I think the longer he's
hide the candidate.
He threatens to fight him. And here's a fun thing. This is one of the things that got my spidey sense going. When you see him in public amongst the people, there's a handler right there whose job it is to cut him off if he starts saying something silly.
Every
And that
politician
one,
has a handler.
no, but not like this. That one time where he was talking to the guy.
He's got like a dominatrix though.
He's like,
yanking on the leash.
He goes, you tell him he's full of shit. And the handler's like, okay, everyone, let's stop this interview. And he's like, no, I want to say this. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty bad sign. He's got some lady standing right next to him to cut off the interview. It gets awkward.
No one would benefit more from a virtual campaign than Joe Biden. I think Pratik is right on that. And the more control, the more control. But I think as far as Slade's question goes, we should console him for not getting to buy nose on Cuomo at like 92, 93. But that money looks pretty safe to me.
Yeah, don't look at a win as a loss. You know, you should have been patient and got it when it was at 6 cents. But you know, if you're going to see that, you should have bought it at 1 cent and sold it at 6 cents. So just take the win. It wasn't as much as you wanted, but it's better than a loss. And God knows there's a lot of people losing on this website, so you aren't one of them.
So we're at the bottom of our mailbag. It's not a gift that keeps on giving unless you guys hit us in our DMs and email us. You can find an email link on starspangledgamblers.com. You can hit me in my DMs, Keendawg at KeendawgSSG. But before we're done, Zoltar likes to leave us with some gifts at the end of these things. Zoltar, you want to show them your board? We got some lottos, or we have some locks today? What do you got there?
So first, we're going to start with those who trusted in Zoltar were rewarded.
That's right. We covered that. Look at that.
Right there. You know what I'm talking about, people.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
Burr and Fauci survived until May 1st.
But like we said, Burr's odds are pretty shitty. They're at like 95. So let's get rid of that. Let me see.
All right. Good riddance.
Just take the Fauci. Yeah. And then what else I got?
This Obama endorses Biden, not in April 12th. Okay. Oh, you're taking no.
Woo! Let's get ready. This one's going to be a little
I'm on the other side of this one. Yeah.
So everyone, he's going to endorse. He's going to endorse. Yeah. Think of the tonality, guys. We're in the middle of the worst month of the pandemic. I think he doesn't like
World Trade Center's worth of people dying every day, literally.
Did someone announce their endorsement right after 9/11? I'm pretty sure they didn't. They didn't even have Saturday Night Live episodes until like 3 weeks later. I think they postponed the convention till August. Shit's hitting the fan, coronavirus-wise, this month. All the experts say this is going to be the worst month. This upcoming week is supposed to be the worst week. I think Obama does not want to be in that news cycle. He's going to wait, pump the brakes. June, July, that's when he makes the announcement, gets momentum right into the convention. So my pick is, this is going to be an exciting one. If you guys are looking for some juice this month, get the no endorsement at like 10 cents, 11 cents, what it's at right now. Just wait a month. Pray to God he doesn't drop that endorsement, and hopefully it'll be at 15, 16 cents. Boom. That's
a ballsy trade.
All right. A lot of you
I don't like to be flipping shares on the wrong side.
Yeah.
That's not my game.
This is just because you're in quarantine and there's no sports to bet on. This is a fun one to get some.
All right. Let's hear it.
Because you could drop that endorsement any day. So if you have some money, you can't figure out where to put it. Don't just have it sit there. Put it in the Giuliani market or the Pence market, because those ones are deadline markets. They're both going to win. As we get closer to the deadlines, they're just going to slowly, gradually go up. So if you're going to park your money, park it there. It'll go up a couple of cents every week. And by the time you figure out what you do want to bet on, at least you made some money.
Like just some nice high interest corporate bonds right there. No Mike Pence getting removed from the ticket. No Rudy Giuliani going to jail until the end of the year.
Okay. So now it's the last one.
Last but not least.
Again, if you're a degenerate sports gambler like myself, you need that action. There's nothing to bet on. Well, guess what? I'm not sponsoring this site. I have nothing to do with this site. But there's a website that lets you bet on if you can lose weight or not. So if you're going if you're going to try to do the quarantine diet, hold on. I wrote the name of the website down. It's called.
I'm gonna be fat as shit. I would lose this bet so fast.
Let's see here.
I was actually gonna ask you guys if you wanted to have like a cardiac arrest death pool with me.
Healthywager.com. That's the name of the website.
No, so we don't do that. We don't do healthy wagers.
I said I'm gonna lose 50 pounds. All these people say I look like John Goodman in a beard. Fuck you. I'm gonna lose 50 pounds and it's gonna pay me $400. You got to put $400 down though.
Pratik, you got any end of podcast resolutions? Are you losing weight?
Well, I'll give you 3 bets that I'm making of varying risk right now.
I was going for personal improvement plans.
Well, I think he looks pretty slim and trim myself, but
our listeners are losing interest in this podcast right now.
You know, he gets some of those female fan letters.
I think continue to buy Biden both to be the nominee in the 80s and also to win the presidency in the 40s. I think one of the safest and most underrated bets right now is Democrats holding on to the House at 70.
Oh my God, it's amazing. 70 cents to
one.
bet the Democrats don't lose this election on the House. Every day I just put like another hundo in that. It's too good to be true.
The only problem is you gotta wait 6 months or whatever.
Dude, I gotta wait until people wake up and realize they're fucking idiots, and that goes up into the 80s or 90s, and I'm moving that cash somewhere else.
And then the final one, I actually am willing to bet no on McConnell. I think that race is gonna.
You're blowing one of my blog posts, bro.
He's teasing it. Great minds think alike.
That's right. Pratik is teasing some future Star Spangled Gamblers content here.
Let's hear it. What about McConnell? Tell me about the turtle. He's a turtle, right?
Yeah, all this shit's harder than people think, but yeah, well, we won't go there. We're gonna save that. We're gonna save that content.
All right.
Okay. Then I got a tease for next week.
I
think I've figured out why people are putting 1 cent yangs all over the place in all the primaries.
All right.
I'm gonna look into it some more, but it's not an idiot move. It's a genius move. And if what I think is happening, I will crack that mystery next week.
Well, Zoltar is our genie in a bottle. We're going to rub him the right way and get the answers we need. But that's Star Spangled Gamblers for this week. We will be dropping these every Monday until, I don't know, an asteroid hits the Earth or we get bored or one of us wins the lottery. Boys, you want to say goodbye? Give them your Twitter handles.
Truthbomber_. Don't eat pot cookies.
And PJ, and then my last name, CHOUGULE.
Once again, I'm Keendawg, your host, at Keendawg SSG. If you're new to this, we've got a sweet referral fee to get you some free money from Predict It. And look, we had a lot of fun hitting that mailbag, reading your questions, answering them, pretending like we're smarter than you. Sometimes we are, most of the time we're not. Be strong out there. And hit us with anything you got in the future. This is our favorite way to do it. We want to do this with you guys. Thanks,
guys. Done taking my shit.